Bragança.
Dear Liza.
I don't believe that's how it goes. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's a tobacco, people. It's some pretty rare stuff going on, and it's what's inside the CAO Amazon Basin. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, the Saginaw Kid, Fingers Malloy.
Dear Liza.
By the way, how are those Detroit Lions doing?
60 minutes away from the Super Bowl, my friend.
Yeah, depending on when you hear this, we're recording right before the NFC Championship game. The Detroit Lions against I believe it's the evil San Francisco 49ers.
Evil San Francisco 49ers.
That's right, 60 minutes away from the Super Bowl. The man is I'm
flossing
perspiring
right
with joy.
Flossing
is what
right
he's
now.
doing right there, and smoking the CAO Amazon Basin. This is a cigar that comes out once a year from CAO. It's this Bragança tobacco that's grown in the Amazon rainforest. It's kind of fascinating how they do it, how they bring the tobacco in, how it's loaded onto canoes. You can read a great story about this at CigarAficionado.com. It comes in one size, 6x52, which means it's 6 inches long. Always makes Fingers Malloy laugh. And the ring gauge is a 52. So that's the diameter of the cigar, or how thick it is around. Again, with the laughter. The way the cigar is done is that there is no band, right? There is no band that you have to take off. The band is actually tobacco leaf that has been rolled to almost feel like twine, and it is wrapped around. You actually smoke right through it. But the oily, feel the wrapper, deep chocolate with touches of mottled black. It is one of the more beautiful looking sticks you will ever come across, Fingers Malloy.
Yeah, it is, and I'm glad you reminded me, because I believe we smoked last year's version of this cigar, correct?
So last year was a little bit different, because the last time this cigar came out was 2022. Last year, they put out something called the Amazon Basin Extra Añejo. It had an extra year of aging to it, and admittedly, it was a wonderful, wonderful stick. This is more of their quote-unquote standard way of doing things, and even their standard is beautiful. This production run, for example, was a little smaller than 2022. They did 6,000 boxes of this. This was smaller. It's a hard cigar to find, by the way. This went quick this year.
Well, the reason why I brought that up is I didn't remember actually smoking through where traditionally the band would be. I just don't remember that. I don't remember.
You had to have.
I'm so focused on those high-flying Detroit Lions that I'm completely forgetting what I smoked last year.
You're difficult. I don't want to lie. You are difficult right there. This is really a lovely, lovely stick, and I'll get to pricing and all of that in a second. So was it last year they did more than 6,000 boxes, or it's this year that they've done 6,000 boxes total is what they've done. Ecuadorian Sumatra in the wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, filler from Colombia and the Dominican Republic, and this Bragança tobacco that is in there. We have just lit this up, Fingers Malloy. Where are you at?
Well, first of all, the pepper hits you right away. At least it did for me, not in a bad way. And then wood note. That's where I'm at right now, but we just lit this. Tony, what do you think?
So one of the things that I do enjoy about this cigar is that it has a wonderful fullness, but it does then hit with these notes. So there's a lot of tobacco forward for me in the cigar that I very, very much like. But you mentioned the wood. I get that almost to a sense on the finish, right? I can feel it on my tongue there. It's almost like a bit of dryness that's going on. But the overall feel in the cheek is this little bit of sweet. I don't know if I necessarily get a strong pepper note. I think that the other kind of flavors will build. One thing I could say is that I'm trying to think of the right word, and I don't have a big fancy word for it. It's strong.
Yeah.
Like everything about this is a medium full-bodied cigar, is strong in this kind of really glorious way, it sings well together. You know, you said you got pepper. I didn't get that, but I feel a little bit of spice on the tongue. There's certainly a little bit of wood as in what I would call a finish. There's this big sense of tobacco, and all of it, it's not hitting at different times. I don't want to say it that way. It's playing, but it's all playing big.
That pepper and spice, to me, it hits you, and then it really lingers. It stays. And what I have to do, it is medium to a full. I tend to smoke my cigars a little faster than I should. I really need to do a better job of putting the stick down because there have been times, this has been happening to me recently, when you start getting to a full cigar, where if I have an empty stomach, it has a really negative impact on how I feel.
Oh, my God. Oh, sorry, I had to take the cigar out. Holy cow, yeah. Oh, an empty stomach on a cigar is bad news.
Yeah.
No. You got to have a little something in the belly. You got to have a little snack, a nosh, as my grandma would call it.
A nosh?
A nosh. That's how my people say it.
I learned so much on this show.
You really, thank goodness you do. Yeah, it's you do. Otherwise, it could totally have a negative effect on you. You know, when we talk about what'd you eat today, what'd you drink today, those things matter, but I don't think we've ever discussed the fact you should not smoke a cigar on an empty stomach, right? When you've got your notebook out and you're like, okay, what did I eat today? What did I drink today? Right? You want to rank the cigar. You want to write down what it is you're experiencing. The weather, cold and rainy in Indianapolis, Indiana right now. And then, well, how are you feeling? What's your mood? All those kinds of things affect. But an empty stomach, absolutely. You want those acids at some kind of low, controlled place.
It can ruin your day. It really can. I was here at Blend Bar Cigar just a couple of weeks ago. You were here. I had a Camacho Nicaraguan. And I got about halfway through it, and I hadn't had anything all day. I had to set the stick down, and I didn't feel well for darn near a couple hours until I got something in my stomach.
That makes as perfect sense as anything else I've ever heard. I think it's interesting from this. We're smoking the CAO Amazon Basin in 2024 that you're getting a big pepper. I get a spice. I'm not so sure that's a pepper for me. That wood and that pepper and that spice are on the tongue for sure, but I just don't know why I don't want to call it.
Maybe we're getting some, because to me it's more of a white pepper. So maybe that
it's bright.
Yes.
It's not heavy. It's not weighing you down.
No.
It's not overwhelming.
No.
It's just there.
It's just there, and it stays there.
And that's exactly my point. Everything is punching in this big way, but I don't feel overwhelmed by any one thing.
No.
With this cigar. Now, is this in your humidor? That is the question. We will get to the price coming up. But in the end, it comes out once a year, and there's a reason why people go crazy for it. Sure, there's a rarity and a scarcity and all that jazz. They happen to do a great job with this stick. I mean, they do a great job with the CAO Amazon Basin. If you can find it, you grab it and smoke along with us. Find everything we're doing at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Because of the excitement Fingers Malloy has for his, I believe they're called the high-flying Detroit Lions.
That's exactly right, my friend.
And how they will be going up against the, are they evil?
The evil San Francisco 49ers.
Now, by the time you hear this, of course, that game could be over, and Fingers Malloy could be just tears deep in a beer or 7.
Probably 7.
But if you're getting ready for the big game, because I don't think you're allowed to call it by its official name.
I think we can, can't we? As long as we're not marketing the whole show around it for mentioning the big game.
The big game in the National Football League. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
We've got the snacks for you. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz. That right there is Fingers Malloy. Now, we're going to make some of these because some of these are air fryer specials. You, Fingers, love the air fryer. I think it is a nonsense thing, a total made-up thing by, of course, the Illuminati in order to get us to spend frivolously.
Big appliance.
Big appliance. It's like big pharma, but now with self-cleaning ovens. Yes, big appliance is absolutely destroying us. These are the foods that you can hold in one hand while you keep your beer in the other. This from allrecipes.com. Spicy dill pickle fries. Fried pickles are so good.
Here's the deal. I like the pickle chips. You know, the fried pickle chips.
Right.
Where you dip them in ranch or dip them in whatever you want, except hummus. That's terrible. But a whole spear.
Holy cow.
A whole spear just seems to me changes the dynamic of the fried pickle. I'm not sure I'm all in on this.
Because you can no longer just pop it in your mouth. What might happen is you take a bite of the fried pickle spear and you get all the breading off, and then what you'll be left with is hot pickle.
Yes, exactly.
This show is so stupid.
Who needs a hot pickle, Tony?
Oh, yes, we're 7. Why do you ask? I get your point. I think you're right, and I think that honestly, the other issue is that's going to get soggy quick.
Yeah,
Soggy quick. I would also go with the pickle chip, but fried.
Listen, we have done an extensive study at the Fingers Malloy Institute of Institutes or for Institutes.
Is that right?
Yes, and the pickle chip is far superior to the fried pickle spear.
You heard it here first. The pickle chip superior to the pickle spear. Thank you, Fingers Malloy. It's the dumbest show.
We hit the hard-hitting issues here.
We get paid for this. Bacon jalapeno popper puffs. Now, I don't know what makes it a puff. What in the world? I don't know if I want it to be
It's a fritter.
You mean like a hush puppy?
Yes. Think of them as savory fritters, according to our friends at allrecipe.com.
Savory fritters.
A savory fritter, except it's got the jalapeno bite, and it's got cheddar cheese, and it's got bacon. It's jam-packed with flavor, Tony.
I don't mind this at all. The ever-popular, the ever-classic. Can I get a little applause? Pigs in a blanket. Pigs in a blanket, everybody.
Outstanding.
A little bit more, just pigs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pigs in a blanket. It's a hot dog. Sometimes call it a wiener. Wrapped in bread, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just get a little more?
Who doesn't love a wiener wrapped in bread?
You know we're on like 66 stations, right? That's the way it works here. I love, I could eat 400. I could eat 400 right now. I've often described the McDonald's Egg McMuffin as the perfect food. There is no time after the full Thanksgiving meal, full meal. If you said to me, would you like an Egg McMuffin? I'd be like, yes, please. And I would eat an Egg McMuffin. The hot dog in puff pastry, the only thing that comes close, the pizza roll and the mini egg rolls.
I'll buy that.
9 billion. So
the question is, with the pigs in a blanket, do you dip it in anything?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. I have prayed on this. I have not. Can I tell you that people use that expression? I know what they mean, but I've always found it to be offensive.
Pigs in a blanket?
No.
Oh.
Prayed on it.
Oh, okay.
And I get that it's me. I get that I'm wrong. But like you're making a decision about to take a job. You're making a decision about a house, and you say that you prayed on it. I take it analytically. You've thought about it. You spent some time. Is this the right move? Is that the right move? I don't know. I've prayed about it. I don't know how I feel about the idea that you would ask God for his thoughts on selling your house. It's like, you know, if a football game ends and you see the players on the field and they thank God for a safe game, I get that. But when they would score a touchdown and then they would get down on one knee and they'd engage a little bit of prayer, I always found that to be peculiar. I don't want to take away from their belief, but looking at it as an outsider, I'm like, touchdowns?
Sure.
I don't think God's focused on touchdowns.
Well, no, but you can thank God for allowing you to be on the field that day. And, you know, for a lot of players, they only may do that 2 or 3 times in a year. I mean, you only score 2 or 3 touchdowns a year. Sure, I could see getting down on one knee. Going back to what you were talking about selling a house, that's a huge decision to make. You know, it could be selling a house and deciding to move out of the city, out of the state. I could totally see reflecting and asking for guidance.
I'm not arguing that you're wrong, and I understand that there's just something about that very concept. When I look at it, I feel like it's a cheapening, and I have not in all these years been able to shake that.
I would agree with you if you say that it's trivializing prayer. If you say something like, yeah, as a joke, I prayed on what I should dip my pigs in the blanket. I could see that. But to me, hey, that's a big thing in a person's life. You score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, you get down on one knee, say a little prayer. What's wrong with that?
I'll think about it. I'll go over what you're saying. Okay. But as for dipping sauces by the way, that's the kind of transition, people. While I am a hot dog with ketchup guy, almost anything will work. Ketchup will work. Mustard will work. Duck sauce. Because you're also going to have the egg rolls, and that's the thing to do it.
Okay, fair
right?
enough.
That all works. But sometimes, as long as the puff pastry is not too dry, nothing. Because it gets in the way of me putting in another one into my mouth, into my gullet hole.
I hear you. The only way I dip my pig in a blanket in any kind of sauce is if they've gotten cold. Because then it kind of feels like it dries everything out, and you need something to enhance it if you've got a dry, cold pig in a blanket.
Would you dip a bacon-wrapped smoky, which is basically a pig in a blanket, but the blanket is the bacon? Would you dip those?
No.
No, me either. Me either. You've got two great flavors, hot dog and bacon.
Right. Because you can eat cold bacon.
What I want now is the edible toothpick.
Edible toothpick?
I want to put the whole thing in my mouth.
I've never seen this.
I know. We need to invent it. It's like a pretzel. It should be. You just put the whole thing in your mouth, and think of what you're doing for the environment.
Wow. We have talked about prayer, environmental stewardship, and pickle spears.
The generations are different. We already know this. Boomers are different than X different than millennials. Millennials and Gen Z totally the same.
Exactly. Well, they aren't. I know women are from Venus and men are from Mars.
That's not how that works either. It's eat, drink, smoke. You're ridiculous. I'm Tony Katz. That is Fingers Malloy. Go to eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Be a part of what we're building over there. It's a good time had by all. And get the podcast wherever it is you get your podcast. So you got the Apple, you got the Spotify, you got the Google Play, you got the Good Pods, you got the I don't even know what else. You got the whatever we're on. If it's a platform, boom, we're there.
Tune in.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Huge on that. There's a story. Huge on the tune in. 7 things boomers still spend money on that millennials and Gen Z don't. I assume one of those things is suits and ties.
Oh, see, what is that?
See what I did there?
See what I did there?
So these are the 7 things.
Uncalled for.
So, for example, the boomer will still have cable TV.
Yes. I'm looking at all these things. I'm thinking of Fingers Malloy Sr.
Good man.
85-year-old Fingers Malloy Sr. Going over this list, thinking, wondering how many of these things he still purchases. And, yes, he does have. It is ridiculous. He's got, I don't know what his cable service is up there. He's got 200 channels. He pays for everything. And yet, I cannot get him to embrace the idea of getting an Amazon Prime to watch Thursday Night Football or Peacock. And I understand that. He thinks those are cable networks. And I've tried going over the app versus cable. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is he's like, I want my cable TV. That's all I want. I want to be able to turn on the cable box. There's my movie. Right on Stars. I'm good to go.
My parents do have cable. Tony Katz Sr. Is 86 now.
Wow.
Happy birthday to my father, which was just last week.
Oh, happy birthday.
86. Crazy. Landlines. Now, my parents do not have a landline.
My dad has a landline.
No.
Yes, and it's really weird. He doesn't use it. He doesn't even have a phone connected to it, but it's part of the plan with the cable and internet, and it's still my childhood phone number.
Is it really?
Yeah. So the area code has changed. For those in Michigan, it used to be 517. Now it's 989. But yeah, it's still my childhood phone number other than the area code. It's crazy.
I still remember my childhood phone number. But I don't want to give it out because someone may have it now. My parents worked from home. My father was always in business for himself. So we were the first people I ever knew who had one of those phones that had multiple lines. Like you put people on hold and you could go to another line.
Wow.
And friends would come over and look at our phone, and it had like 4 lines. It was this giant box. We could have launched the space shuttle. They're like, "What's happening here?" I'm like, "Check this out." And you'd have to push the line and everything else. It wasn't rotary, but people freaked out.
So you had 4 phone lines for all the ladies you were calling.
Well, I don't mean to brag, but there was my grandma, and then print media. This is not fact, is it?
Well, up until very recently, my dad got the newspaper delivered to him. But back in the day, the Saginaw News was a 7-day-a-week publication, and I don't even know if they print the newspaper 3 days a week now.
Speaking of print media, the Los Angeles Times laid off 115 people. To go back to the other story, that's 20%, and it was from the newsroom. Now, there are clear political bents, and they always lean to the left in the vast majority of print publications, in newspapers, especially what we think of as the big ones. But this is a problem, because without local newsrooms, local politics becomes nutty. If you're not watching what's happening on the most local level, where do you think they learn how to take a little for themselves? Because no one's paying attention. And who can understand the minutia of local politics? It's insane. Yeah. This is a real problem nationwide.
I see some people celebrating news like this. I don't like it when anyone loses their job, but this, as you said, is exactly right. There's
what about
no
Matt
watchdog. Well, don't get me started.
I rest my case.
Ruined a decade of my life.
A former general manager of the Detroit Lions, people. See that? I knew a football thing.
Yeah.
You're welcome, kitten. You don't want to see people lose their job, but
no, who's going to be the watchdog in the local community? Like you said, it's not good.
It's a real issue. Greeting cards. I don't know about that. I still get cards. I still get people who send me the pictures of their kids for Christmas and the little story. The one that I think that is important to teach your kids, and you should keep alive, is the thank you note. Thank you notes are important, and I'm doing it for my kids. I have it myself. Stationery, something with your name on it, so you can write the little note, put it in an envelope, and send it, and it's got your name on it or your brand. For me, it has my logo. It has the Tony Katz logo on it.
For me, Marriott.
And that is so important. Nothing. There is no email, no text, no gift basket, unless it's got some really, really good baked goods. That replaces the thank you note that has that level of personalization to it. So that one should stay.
I have received Christmas emails before. Have you gotten the Christmas email that is from a family that has the picture and the whole nine? You open it up.
I send them back TLDR. Too long, didn't read. If you could just sum this up for me. Is everyone still alive? Great. See you next year.
You really are a warm person.
Now, this is a lie. Boomers have, but the younger generations don't, specialty home appliances. I have purchased 2 in the last month.
Go on.
The Ninja Creamy,
yes,
the ice cream maker, and the espresso machine, which I found outrageously on sale. But no one has found anything on sale like Fingers Horatio Malloy and his new TV, which he said he wasn't going to do.
I'm so happy about the TV. Because, last week I said I wasn't going to get a new TV, but then I was looking into getting playoff tickets for the Lions. And playoff tickets for the game between the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the evil Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was over $700.
Right.
Then I found a TV. Open box, OLED, the Sony Bravia.
Sony makes great stuff.
Oh, yeah. I got it for $940. which was like over half off. Open box items, my friend. I'm telling you.
You drove an hour.
I drove an hour to get it. Can I mention the store?
Nah, I wouldn't.
But
it's the best.
Yeah, and it was a great buy. And their website, it'll show you where there are open box items in your area. And I saw that deal, and I was like, I got to jump all over it. And the OLED, Tony, it's unreal. It's like you could...
Or OLED.
Oh, excuse me.
It's okay.
The OLED, you feel like you could actually reach out and touch Pamela Anderson on Baywatch. She's running down the...
Wow, that was very specific and a little awkward.
Oh, well... Thankfully, I didn't say it on the radio.
So these are the things they say that boomers do and Gen X and millennials and Gen Z, or they should really say millennials and Gen Z. They don't even pay attention to Gen X because they know Gen X doesn't care.
They skip right over Gen X all the time. And you know what? We're kind of fine with it.
Oh, so good with it. Oh, what a treat not to be on their lists. We're smoking the CAO Amazon Basin. It comes out once a year with that Bragança tobacco out of the Amazon. We're only now starting to get close to the second third. Now, wait a second. Hold on. No, okay, you do smoke way faster than me. Put that down. Holy cow, you're in the second third.
Yeah.
This thing does smoke slow. The draw on this, a little tight.
Yep.
Just a touch. I'm not saying it's stopping the smoke, but it is making me go a little bit slower. Lovely cigar, $14.29 if you can find it. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke. Willett is one of the great names in bourbon. From the founding of the distillery to the breaking ground in 1936 to its opening, its history, its bourbon, fantastic work. And you can't talk bourbon without talking about Bardstown, Kentucky, the bourbon capital of the world. Of course, bourbon doesn't have to come from Kentucky, but let's be clear. Kentucky has got a stranglehold on what is considered to be good bourbon. You put them together, you get Old Bardstown, the Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey from Willett. It is Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz. That right there, America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy.
I have to tell you, Tony, that setup was so wonderful. I feel like you should write a book about bourbon.
Thank goodness we did. Let's Go Bourbon, available at Amazon.com. This from the Willett Distillery, with no age statement, but it's got to be at least 4 years. We are trying right now from Willett, the Old Bardstown, which comes in, Fingers Malloy, at 101 proof. There it is. Applause for anything over 100 proof. Checking it out right here. A very typical coloring for a bourbon right there. A little bit of honey, a little bit of golden. Not so much a touch of red, which you get more into that copper kind of look right there. But a classic, just a classic look there in the glass.
I have to laugh because this is the second week in a row we've gotten quite a healthy pour.
Oh, it's good. Blend Bar Cigar is where we do the show from. BlendBarCigar.com in Indianapolis, in the Woodlands, and in Pittsburgh. It's a delicious nose. 101, but that is a smooth, luscious little thing right there.
There is absolutely no alcohol or ethanol on the nose at all for being 101 proof. You're not getting any of that.
What's weird is there's nothing overwhelming, right? It's not necessarily fruity, but it is sweet. There's no big hit. There's no big punch coming from this. But it's except for the fact that I want more oak on my dang nose.
I was just about to say I don't get any oak on the nose
right?
at all.
It's a nice perfume, if you will.
I feel like on the nose, I'm about ready to set myself up for a dessert bourbon. It's really sweet.
It is sweet on the nose.
But,
you think it's that big?
But the thing is, it's sweet, but it's like there's so... I'm having a hard time differentiating the notes. It just comes off as sweet to me, but it's not like the traditional. There's vanilla, there's caramel. It's not that.
It's just sweet. But it's not candied. It's pleasant. It's not overwhelming in the slightest. But we won't know, Fingers Malloy, until we take a sip. Fingers Malloy, you ready for this?
Tony, I've been ready for this since Sunday.
Is that when the Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The evil Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's what I thought. From Willett Distillery, this is the Old Bardstown Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, coming in at 101 proof. Fingers Malloy. Oh, he's moving it around. He's doing what's known as the Kentucky Chew. That's what that first sip is. You move it around the palate, really get a feel for a thing. Sometimes you want to take 2 sips. The first one to set the taste buds, because there's a hit that can come. The second one really to get the flavors. Fingers, you all right there?
Wow. Okay, first of all, there's a spice and a sting on the tongue that really lingers. There is that oak that you're looking for, Tony. There's a dark fruit as well. And that's about it for me. A nice bit of spice and dark fruit and oak.
Well, I'm going in, Fingers.
He's going in.
I'm going in right here to the Old Bardstown, the 101 proof from Willett Distillery. Here I go, Fingers Malloy. To your health, to the Lions. Here we go.
To my health, to the high-flying Detroit Lions. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going in. He's doing what we like to call the Saginaw Swish. The Kentucky Chew.
You could get into so much trouble. How easy does that go down?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So you actually do feel a little bit of it in the back of the throat. There is zero heat in the chest whatsoever. It is a full enveloping of the tongue, and only now is the tongue starting to hit with a little bit of spice. It is so much thicker on the palate than you would ever get from the nose or just looking at it.
But not as syrupy.
Close, but not there. I agree. Man, you are dead on about the dark fruits, right? Very much so in these gosh, I don't even know how I would describe that. Not necessarily plum, but just a richness of orchard going on. Holy mackerel! Everything. But now the finish actually comes off as a touch dry, and a little bit of spice is there. There's nothing overwhelming here, but just truly delicious. Truly.
I got to tell you, my lips are still tingling from just the one sip that I had. It's unique, and I don't know about you. It's got a nice bit of oak. Is there enough oak for you? Because I know you really like oak in your bourbon.
So I would answer that question in the following way. I am not overwhelmed by oak at all.
Are you getting any oak?
Here's the point I was going to make. I'm not missing it.
Okay.
That's what's weird. I don't know if that is an oak or if that's just a more... It's the dryness that came on the finish that almost makes me think that what I've got is a wood flavoring.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what it is. What I do know is that this neat, I could finish right now and not feel. Mm-hmm. And that's really rare for me. I am a sipper. I'm not a drinker when it comes to bourbon, and I'm a rye guy by nature. That's really easy. Like, really, really easy.
But that has a spice to it. Does it not? I feel like it does. It in really a big way.
All right, I would say it this way. It's not that a spice doesn't exist, but that spice doesn't overwhelm, because I think the fruit is really the thing that hits you.
Yeah.
And you're spending a little bit of time trying to figure out what the fruit is, so maybe you miss that at the first. When this thing goes on a cube, which it will, I'm placing my bet that the spice comes out.
Okay, that spice for me lingers on the palate, and then at the end, on the finish, that's where I'm getting the oak.
Dude, that's delicious.
Yes.
What? Wow. Is that easy? Like, just super. That's the part that's blowing me away. It's super, super easy. Now, is it in our liquor cabinet? Well, we will get to price coming up in a little bit. The old Bardstown Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, at least 4 years aged, even though there's no age statement on the bottle, from Willett. You got to check it out for yourself. What does it cost? Is it in our liquor cabinet? That's coming up. Eat, Drink, Smoke. It is your cigar, bourbon, foodie extravaganza. I'm Tony Katz. That is Fingers Malloy. Find everything we do at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. And Fingers Malloy,
Yes.
the number one Detroit Lions fan right there.
Forward down the field, a charging team that will not yield.
A big welcome to 910 AM Superstation in Detroit. A new home of Eat, Drink, Smoke. Finally getting to your people. Fingers Malloy, the Saginaw boy.
That's me.
Born and raised Saginaw, Michigan. On his, which arm is it? Which arm has the tag? On his right arm, the Detroit Lions logo and the Honolulu blue. It's a little faded over the years.
No, it was when they had the alternative color. That's a black lion with the Honolulu blue edging around it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the people of Detroit listening on 910 AM Superstation?
My people, Detroit. The summers I used to spend at my cousin's house in Roseville, Michigan, going to the Quick Pick, getting Town Club soda. I'm so happy that we're bringing Eat, Drink, Smoke to the D. That's all.
Does this mean I now have to acknowledge that Detroit-style pizza is a real thing?
Yes.
Okay, Detroit-style pizza is a real thing. Smoking the 2024 CAO Amazon Basin with that Bragança tobacco out of the Amazon. They do this once a year, and it is worth it. Now, in a conversation of comparing this to last year, where they did the extra añejo, the extra year of the CAO Amazon Basin, I think it's an unfair comparison. I've had a couple people tell me what they think in comparing the two. I'm going to leave that for others right now. I simply state that it is unfair to compare an extra year of aging to this cigar. I think that what CAO does every year with this Amazon Basin, it is beautiful. It smokes beautifully. The flavor is there. To Finger's point of pepper, my point of just spice, it has subdued a little bit. There's actually a little more wood that's now coming out of the smoke now that we're in the second third of this cigar. And as you got your notebooks out and you're writing things down, you break the cigar up into thirds. First third, second third, and final third. And you write down in your notebook, any spiral notebook will do, the flavors that you get out of each third. And when you go back and try that cigar 3 months from now or 6 months from now, you do it again. Then you compare your notes. And when you catch similarities, those are your through lines. That's really where your palate is and what you got out of the cigar. But it's $14.29 is the MSRP. All day, if I could find a box, I'd buy a box.
Yeah, I would have 2 or 3 in my humidor at that price point, and I only have
Cigars,
2 or 3.
not boxes.
Yeah, 2 or 3 cigars, and that's only because I don't know if I could find more than 2 or 3 right now on the market. So yeah, it definitely should be in your humidor.
And we are drinking from Willett, the old Bardstown Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. No age statement, but got to be at least 4 years. 101 proof. Glorious neat. Not the oak is not there for me the way I would like it to be, but that whole dark fruit orchard thing going on, the thickness but not syrupy, which is surprising, and how it envelops the tongue. It's delicious, Fingers Malloy. But now is the question: are you adding water? Are you bringing it to?
Well, I always like to add a few drops of cool water. You usually like to put it on the rock, and he just did, ladies and gentlemen, and I talked over him pouring it onto a rock. I'm going to put a couple drops of cool water. Did you hear that?
No, we can splash. There it was. Whoop. Oh, is that it?
Yeah, it's exactly what it was.
You are the Rich Little of your generation.
Thank you. You kids under 50, ask Jeeves Rich Little.
Go for that. Get it done. Try it now. The old Bardstown, 101 proof. Doesn't feel like 100 proof at all, nor 101. It's easy, Fingers Malloy. We're wondering if this is going to bring out a spice or an oak component. I put my money down that it will bring out a spice component.
Well, I'll tell you what, for me, it actually toned the spice down, brought out a little bit more of that dark fruit, and to me, I had that oak on the finish, brought a little bit more of the oak on the finish. It toned down the spice for me. So I'll be interested to see what it does for you.
I'm going in.
He's going in, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing what we like to call the Saginaw Swish.
Oh, hell yeah. Do it. Try it. Absolutely. The spice is there. It evens out a little bit. There's a little more. There is a little more evenness to it. It actually brought down that orchard dark fruit and brought out not only a little bit of that spice, but to the extent that it brought out oak, it brought out a little more something, and I'm calling it a fullness. This is a surprise, a wonderful, wonderful surprise, Fingers Malloy. What?
I got to tell you, again, this is what's happened to me is that tingling on the finish, it stays with you for quite a while. At least for me, it does.
That's interesting because
on the lips,
just like so.
Am I suggesting it to you, and all of a sudden you're feeling it?
No, I would say that while this is certainly neat, it was a little more of a thicker feel than on the cube. There's a brightness. It is not heavy and deep. It is easy. It is. I could down the whole thing right now, and I'm never ever like that. And that's I am surprised. Fingers Malloy is the old Bardstown from Willett, 101 proof. Is it in your liquor cabinet for $35.99 a bottle?
Yes.
It's a standard. Holy McCrap. It is now a standard in the liquor cabinet. You want your bourbon for old fashions or Manhattans? You could feel fine using a $35 a bottle, although some people may want something a little more oaky to get that done. On a cube, neat, good for the whole table, fantastic gift. Oh my.
And, at 101 proof.
Do you feel it?
No, absolutely not. Not at all. It's wonderful, especially at that price point, Tony.
No, we get it, by the way. 101 isn't, getting into the 120s when you get to some single barrels, things like that. But it's still there, right? It's still prevalent hitting over 100. Well, and you just don't feel it.
I think psychologically people will see over 100 proof, and some people who may not be everyday bourbon drinkers, they're like, oh, geez, 100 proof, that's going to be really strong. It's going to hit, it doesn't at all. In my mind, if you would have told me this was 80 proof, I'd be like, yeah, I could see that.
It's also, I think, a pretty good combination.
Yes.
The old Bardstown with the CAO Amazon Basin, that's nice. That's a lucky pairing right there.
Yeah, it is.
That is a pleasant and not break the bank. Check it out for yourself.
It's almost like we've done this before.
It's time, Fingers Malloy, for News of the Week.
Tony, we are going to do an Eat, Drink, Smoke News of the Week follow-up.
Follow-up.
And we should have some sort of jingle.
Right.
Last week we talked about Applebee's, and we're really talking restaurants up this week. And a lot of it's bad news, and unfortunately, this actually got Applebee's a little bit of bad press. Last week, they announced that they were going to offer a date night pass. For $200, you could buy this date night pass for 52 weeks. Once a week, you could go to Applebee's, and you would get $30 allotted to you for food and non-alcoholic drinks. And there were a lot of people that got excited about it. We talked about it on the show. So it was available on their website at noon on Monday, January 22nd, and 30 seconds later it was sold out.
You could use it between February 1st and January 31st of 2025. It would cover $30 of food and non-alcoholic beverages per use. So basically, you ended up with $1,500 worth of food credit at Applebee's for $200. It sold out. 30 seconds, people couldn't access it to. It was sold out in a minute.
Yes.
How many? They don't say how many they actually sold.
Now, to be fair, they did say a limited number of passes would be available. You're exactly
Honestly,
right.
Willy Wonka was handing out the date pass. Charlie got Grandpa to finally go for a walk.
I mean, I got to believe it drew a lot of people to the Applebee's website and thinking to themselves, I could go to Applebee's once a week. And now people have a bad taste in their mouth from Applebee's.
I think the most amazing part is people had it in their cart. They had it in their cart, and they went to check out, and it was sold out. From the time they put it in their cart to the time they hit checkout, gone.
We talked about this off air, and the amount of people, not only are you thinking about buying it for date night, but maybe if you have a college student that's living in a dorm, it would have been a perfect thing for them to be able to, once a week go and get something outside of the college food that you normally get, at the cafeteria. Would have been a great gift. And people ran to the website, and they went to buy it, and within 30 seconds, they were sold out.
These kinds of things have the opportunity to backfire. But all press is good press. Tens of thousands of people tried to get this done. They tried to get this passed. And if they do it again, they'll try again. Applebee is not obvious. You like the food. It's a deal.
Yeah.
And in the world of deals, this is nutty. I forgot to do it.
Well,
I was.
Would you have really been there right at noon?
If I cared, yes, I would have. Fingers, it's not me, it's you.
You're right. It is me. It's not you.
I mean, it's time to end things, and that's how you say it. Oh wait, you say it's not you, it's me. No wonder they always took it so bad. Tea, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz. That is Fingers Malloy. Let's Go BBQ. Let's Go Bourbon. Our 2 books available at Amazon.com. The perfect Valentine's gift to keep the relationship going. Let's Go Bourbon and Let's Go Barbecue. Available at Amazon.com.
Nothing says love like a barbecue and bourbon book.
Nothing at all. These are... As my voice cracks. What just happened there?
Sir.
I'm about to date your daughter. The 5 undeniable signs it's finally time to end things. This comes from the people at yourtango.com.
Before you get into this,
Yeah.
we often talk about how we discuss things that people talk about at the cigar lounge. And right now I'm imagining someone having their earbuds in, listening to Eat, Drink, Smoke on their favorite podcast platform, and they're wondering to themselves, they're saying, self, should I stay with the person I'm with? Here we are offering tips and advice to that person. We're talking to you. That's
Directly.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now.
Here are the 5 undeniable signs. Number 1, there is more pain than happiness in your relationship.
Absolutely.
That's a sign that it should be over.
Yes, I know. Listen, I'm from Michigan, and I know a lot of people in the automotive industry who work in factories. And you hear stories about guys who are in their 60s and even in their 70s who are eligible to retire. And they choose not to because if they retire, they'll have to be home full time. And their factory, their line of work keeps them away from the pain and the aggravation of being at home. Maybe you should re-examine what's going on in your relationship and say to yourself, if I would choose factory work over staying at home with my spouse, maybe it's time to jet.
That's not to say that you don't need alone time or things like that. You're talking about the idea of avoidance.
Yes.
Because when I read this at first, there's more pain than happiness in your relationship, I was like, well, what if that's what you're into?
That's where you went?
Your safe word is carburetor.
Carburetor.
Well, it's not the everyday. It's not the everyday kind of thing. You throw that into a mix, quickly to unlatch everything.
I thought you'd go with salamander.
What would he?
Salamander.
Oh, no. That's don't look that up at Urban Dictionary, whatever you do. Whatever you do. Number 2, the truest words ever spoken, your partner expects you to change. Holy moly. The people who get into relationships and say, well, when we're married, things will get better. We'll make them change. That's not how it works. People do change. One of the things that I do not accept in society is when people say people don't change. Yes, they certainly do. Sometimes it's for the worse, but they absolutely do change. I'm a much different man than when I was married, a much better man than when I first got married. Absolutely. My wife and I, we had a good relationship then. We have a stellar relationship now. Got better over time. People do change. Expecting them to change? Oh, that's messed up.
I completely agree with you. People don't change, Tony.
They totally change.
Static. No, but the idea that, and I've seen this too, where someone is getting married and they feel like they found a diamond in the rough, and they're going to be able to fix that person, and there's no fixing the person most of the time.
That's an ugly thing to want, because at that moment you have to recognize, and people don't, that you're not interested in a relationship. You're interested in a puppy. You're interested in a doll. And said into a much more direct methodology or in a direct fashion, you're interested in power. You're not interested in a relationship where you're both sharing in the relationship. And sometimes, yes, decisions are made by one and not the other. That happens in all relationships. But if the relationship is about wanting to change someone, you're not interested in a relationship. It's not that. It is you're interested in a power dynamic. You're interested in control. And that makes you awful. Of course you should leave that person. You should not be anywhere near that kind of stuff.
A relationship should be something that you go into and you grow together. It shouldn't be a pet project.
So in our life, what we stated is we talked about this long before we got married. We've talked about it right as we were getting married. We talked about it afterwards. We're not interested in getting married, and we were never interested in getting married to create a life, to make a life. We had lives. We were interested in making our life better. And we thought this was great. This was a way to do that. And oh my gosh, yes, for me, without question, it did. But it was never about whether or not we had a life, whether or not we were these people with thoughts and ideas and independent thoughts and independent ideas and different ideas of a whole host of things and different interests. It was, how do you make it better? And if it's, I don't know if it's not that, like number 3 on the list, your relationship won't allow both of you to grow as individuals. Again, power. How does somebody grow if somebody else is saying, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, no, you can't have this, no, you can't have that? Fingers Malloy?
Yes.
I have been with my wife a very long time. Mm-hmm. The total amount of times I have checked the text messages on her phone is 0. Do you know how often stuff like that happens? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. You know that happens all the time.
No,
the total lack of trust, the total lack of caring.
I can't imagine picking up my wife's phone and rummaging through it. I don't understand that. Or being in a relationship where you feel like you have to do that.
It's crazy town. But people do. This is the point of people changing. Grow is change. They do. Interests change. Thoughts change. Life creates experiences, and those experiences can indeed change you. Good. That's it. Now you talk them through and you try and figure out how to make them work for you as opposed to work against you. But yes.
Well, the other thing about that, too, is if you've got one spouse that is upset that you're experiencing personal growth and not experiencing the joy with you of that personal growth, and on the other side of it is that they're trying to stifle that growth.
Right. Be excited for them. When your partner is exerting little to no effort in the relationship. Relationships are not 50-50. They ebb and they flow. And sometimes you're engaged. And I could say this is true. My life. Sometimes you're giving more. Sometimes you're taking more. It's not that you're necessarily giving less. You're taking more. But to be with somebody who has no interest in you and has no interest in your personal or professional success, if it isn't the two of you against the world, like literally taking to arms, picking up the spears and the shield, and like, all right, let's go kick their ass. I don't know who you're with, and I don't know why.
Yeah, too often you see couples that have been married 20 or 30 years, they just don't put any effort into it anymore. It's like, we're married, we have our roles. And, what effort do I have to put into this anymore?
At that moment, it's a roommate. And we have used this expression many, many times. I am not interested in a roommate.
My motto throughout any relationship I have ever had, Tony, it's simply live, laugh, love.
I'm going to hit you so hard. So incredibly hard. Drinking the old Bardstown from Willett, 101 proof, $35.99 a bottle. It's terrific. It's terrific. Look, it isn't as oaky as I would like. It isn't 27 levels of complexity that you might be looking for. Easy, simple, super enjoyable, works for the table, neat or on a cube. It's a win.
Especially at that price point.
It's in the liquor cabinet immediately. And the CAO Amazon Basin for 2024. I'm not even in the final third yet, Fingers. Now, sure, we've been talking, but this is just wonderful. They did a wonderful job with this. And okay, I'll say it. The Extra Añejo from last year was a more enjoyable cigar. But I ain't throwing this out of bed by any stretch of the imagination. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke, eatdrinksmokeshow.com.
Follow Eat, Drink, Smoke on social media, on Twitter @Go Eat, Drink, Smoke, on Facebook, facebook.com/Eat, Drink, Smoke, and Instagram @Eat, Drink, Smoke Podcast.